You really want to know who I think is renting from Family Video? People without credit cards.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, without
Oh,
yeah, you can't do Netflix, you can't do Redbox. There's no other way. But I have to say it's in a very affluent neighborhood where my Family Video is at. Like it's between like some couple $100,000 houses neighborhood.
Oh, dude. So I'm looking at their part of their catalog here, and they're $1.99. It's a video club you can have sent to you, and they do have Barbarella, Basket Case, Chud.
They got Putney Swope.
They got Chopping Mall. They got Cowboys versus Dinosaurs, Dr. Terror's House of... I'm looking at the B movie, so the stuff
Transmorphers?
you did... Transmorphers kicks ass.
Snakes on a Train.
Yeah, they do. Manos, the Hand of Fate,
Okay.
Killer Clowns
Now-
from Outer
okay,
Space,
okay.
Poultrygeist.
We don't get any money. Well, this is an anti-ad once again, the famous Street Fight anti-ad. You don't have to get any of your DVDs through the mail or through Redbox. Just drive down to the goddamn store, look at the covers, pick out one you like, read the back, and deal with it, what you get. And don't worry about what Rotten Tomatoes tells you or if anybody else is live tweeting it.
I was explaining this to my daughter. So I got on PlayStation like to look for movies, and she was like, "What are all these movies? Nobody's ever even heard of these movies. These movies are stupid. Nobody likes these things." And I was like, "Gwen, back in the day, you used to just like, it wasn't like you had a choice of 3 movies to rent, and you were just like, well, am I gonna get the Infinity War or am I gonna get the you know what I mean? Like I've been complaining about the third shows. The next 6 third shows are gonna have me complaining about how when I was growing up, I'm gonna do it on the show again, but when I was growing up, I haven't done this with Brett, and so
Sure.
he'll probably love it. When I was growing up, on Friday night, like 6 movies came out. And it was like, oh, you pick which movie you go see on
Right.
Friday night.
You have to show up early to get the good one.
Right. And it would be like, the 6 movies would be like, oh, a horror movie came out, an action movie came out, a comedy came out. Now, every week, one movie comes out, and it fills up the whole theater, and that's all that you can see. And it's like, boy, that's different. Like that's probably not a good thing.
There's still lots of horror movies coming out. Horror does very well. People still show up for those.
Well, PlayStation Plus.
and they're super cheap too.
yeah.
Yeah, the PlayStation
Like, they're
Network.
cheap to make.
Yeah, the PlayStation Network has movies I've just every week it's like, look at the new movies, and there's like 40 of them, and you're like, what the hell? See all this happen.
Yeah.
But I explained to her that like there used to be a time where you just looked at the box and rented it, and like it was like either it sucks or it's good, but it's something.
Yeah, you took a chance on it, really. Or like I like those people. I'll just see how they do in this one.
Yeah.
See how this new Brad Pitt is.
Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bolorama. That was a movie that I
Oh, that
rented.
sounds bad.
Yeah. I
That
mean, if
sounds not great.
people love those horror movies that were on VHS, and now I think those things have become so popular now that they're putting them all out on DVD. Because I used to watch this movie all the time called Earth Girls Are Easy.
I love that movie.
And I also watched a movie growing up a lot called Morons from Outer Space. And like, I don't think it was good. It was just like a movie, that like had a funny name, and I would go to the place and I would rent it, I don't know.
If for anybody young people, Earth Girls Are Easy is Jim Carrey, Jeff Goldblum, and Damon Wayans, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like right, early, young, it's wild.
Yeah.
If it came out now, it would just be called like Girl.
Cock
Like,
blockers.
why do movies do that?
What is it?
Why do movies do that? Like thing with like just a one-word title to make it seem dramatic.
Because everything's got to be like high grade now. Like back in the day, or back in the past, like if you could get a movie made and put it on a VHS tape, then you had a good shot of like some people renting them, because these video rental places just wanted a catalog. They wanted to be able to say, we got 500 movies in here. But that's not the case anymore. The case now, it was like, this is the first time I remember this happening. There was a video store by my house called West Coast Video when I was growing up, right? And they guaranteed, when Robin Hood Prince of Thieves came out on DVD, they guaranteed that you would be able to rent Robin Hood Prince of Thieves. No matter, anytime you go in there, it was always going to be in.
I do remember those.
And they just took like a whole wall of movies and replace them with Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
What?
And that was the beginning. Like, they couldn't just put one box and be like, we have unlimited of these.
Yeah.
It had to take up so much real estate in the store. That was the beginning of them whittling down the amount of movies that you're allowed to have now and make.
Every movie's a fucking sequel, man. I mean,
or a remake or a TV thing.
Yeah.
But that's
Or a
actually,
soft reboot.
we just, soft reboot. I love a good soft reboot. Brett did snort. I love a good soft reboot. I'm into that.
Yeah, let's. The other stuff that sucked, we got rid of all of that. We took all the sucky stuff you didn't like before. We're gonna give it another shot. Superman number 5.
Got us a new
I don't know if you
Spider-Man.
guys- I don't know if you guys have ever watched the Web Letter Media guys on YouTube. They do movie stuff. They have this video that comes out like every year called "Fuck You, It's January," where they just go through like it's sequels and more sequels. It's "Fuck You, It's January."
Yeah, nothing good is out.
February too. Well, February actually
yeah.
changed now because Black Panther made a ton of money. Now I don't think there's a season anymore. I really don't. Now that the Disney makes all the movies, they just make money every month. They're just
they're just. We can
oh.
do this any time of the year.
yeah, we'll have a
Disney.
Pixar in January, a Star Wars in February, a Marvel in March, another Marvel in April. You know, they just it's unlimited with them. We'll have a Benghazi movie in June. It's just they.
Is there a Benghazi movie coming out?
There is a movie. I believe it's a movie about dogs that were in the army. Like a movie about how like
talking dogs.
No, like when dogs first joined the army. Like it's like this is a movie about how when the
Oh,
army was like, you know, we
God.
could get these dogs to smell and see if there's mines.
This ain't no goddamn
You know what we
multi-species
can do?
military. My father didn't serve next to heathen animals. And the dogs are like,
And then there's this one guy that's like, I train dogs how to sniff out mines.
yeah.
And then like,
He's like, I'll put my best boy in green against any of those damn dirty dogs in a mine-finding battle.
did you hear
And
about
then
the?
the Robo-Dogs show up.
Did y'all hear about that movie that came out? I think it was like over the spring where Clint Eastwood made a movie about terrorists taking over a train, and all of the people that starred in the movie were troops.
Oh, nice.
He
That's
was
smart.
like, there's some
No.
troops in this movie.
You probably didn't pay him anything.
Oh my God, no!
Like, I'm just happy to meet you, Mr. Eastwood. Don't
Hate
you
him and
forget it,
respect.
kid.
Gotta respect the troops.
Yeah.
You just gotta.
Got to give him more movie roles, man. They're get discriminated against.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You got to have real
Oh.
killers play the killers in the movies.
dogs. Well, thanks for calling, Elizabeth. That was real fun.
Yeah. Anytime.
We gotta
All
get
right,
to
I'll
some
talk
more
to you guys later.
callers.
Yeah, we
Thank
got
you.
other people.
God,
waiting.
that is too funny. Soft reboot and troop movie.
Yeah. Well, there's always a troop movie to see.
Yeah, I gotta find out if it's really a troop dog movie. That's embarrassing. Like it's weird. I did see a movie about how it's like
Dogs that serve?
yeah, troop dogs, man.
They have like cool bulletproof vests on with like grenades hanging off of them.
There's a movie coming out called Man's Best Friend, but not the cool one where the dog kills a mailman. Do you remember that movie?
No.
So they invented a robo dog, and it goes on a killing spree.
Yeah, they tend to do that.
Man's Best Friend is actually the whole plot of it's right here. Reporter Lori Tanner, investigating a story about animal cruelty, gains access to a facility where dogs and cats are the subject of cruel experiments conducted by Dr. Jarek. After seeing the conditions of the lab, Lori flees the building, but massive escape dog Max follows her. Lori decides to keep Max as a pet, but the seemingly lovable canine is a genetically altered dog with unusual abilities and psychotic tendencies that set him on a killing spree.
Yeah, you got to wreak havoc against man, dude. You put all your trust in man, and he experimented on you.
Yeah.
Fuck him. Take him out. Experiment on yourself. Get human brains and do your own science.
Yeah, the movie's called MBF, the new one. And
Like, My Best Friend.
Man's Best Friend,
Oh.
dude.
Man's best friend.
But
Why not woman's?
well,
Is that still diamonds in that world?
it's an engaging tale that shows the parallels between the treatment of wounded military veterans and last chance shelter dogs.
So they pair
That's
them
the
up.
movie. Yeah, it's like
They could do that on a Facebook video. You
them up, and it's like half of them are somebody eating gold, and the other half are like veterans having heartwarming moments.
Yeah, and now this video. Now this. And then just some guy in a hospital bed getting his face licked off.
God damn it. Let's get another call in here. Dogs, man's best friend. We should watch that.
I'm in. Thank you for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
Hello.
Howdy.
Hi, it's Nairi from Los Angeles.
Oh, one
awesome.
of our
Yeah.
famous mods.
One of your Facebook pig admins.
Whoop,
Yeah.
whoop.
That's the sound of the police.
You all are very good at
Hooty-hoo.
policing. How's it going, Nairi?
Nairi.
Nairi. Oh, I'm sorry. I've been
Yeah.
saying your name one
No,
way.
it's okay. It's complicated.
Nairi. I'm saying it right now.
Nairi.
How's
Yeah.
it going? How's it? You're like
Pretty
you're
good.
the thing that shocks me about you. Not on Twitter, and somehow found us. So
I am kind of on Twitter. You sent me the link to the Facebook group on Twitter like a million months ago.
I thought I did not do that. Okay, I thought there's one of the people that does stuff isn't on Twitter, or doesn't use Twitter. I'm like, how'd you find us?
I don't really use it a lot. I go on there like once in a while, and then I get annoyed, and then I get off.
Yeah, that's the healthy way to engage with Twitter.
Right?
Well, how's it going?
Speaking of cops, so I live next to a cop, okay? And his kids don't seem to know who I am because I live with my parents right now, and they know my parents really well. So every time his fucking annoying little kids see me, they interrogate me about who I am.
Oh,
and I'm
no.
like, he's like teaching his kids to be cops already.
What-
They're like, who are you? Are you a friend? Are you a cousin? I'm like, I've met you guys like multiple times. Calm down.
Do you think he teaches his kids to be suspicious? Because, like, that's the thing about, like, I'm not trying to be understanding of cops, but, like, I'm
I
gonna...
think he teaches his kids to be assholes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause
I
He's a
do
fucking
this.
asshole.
I mean, when me and my daughter are walking down the street, I give her contextual clues about stuff or like what we're looking for. It's usually related to like not getting hit by a car or being polite or paying attention when somebody's walking. I don't normally tell her that people are out there trying to rob the house next door or whatever in broad daylight. Walk up to the
Right,
front.
right. As I'm outside watering the plants, I'm
Right.
planning on robbing the house.
Yeah, kids, it may seem weird, but plenty robbers have watered the plants as a cover while
Yeah.
their buddy is loading the TV out the back door. I see it every day as my cop job. What do they call themselves?
But they call themselves Leos now.
They call themselves Leos?
Yeah, they
Oh, yeah.
They're
love to do
lions.
that. Anytime that somebody uses Leo as like a thing, you're like, let's not have this conversation. How's that sound?
No.
Yeah.
You know that they're Blue Lives Matter people and they're jerks. Yeah.
It's because they went from, like, when I was growing up, and my dare officer, Officer Shirley, I actually called her a cop, and she was like, that is actually a slur against the police. And I was just
What?
like,
Because of that
No.
movie.
really? There's a movie?
What's the funny cop movie from the 80s?
Super Cop?
No.
Police Academy?
Police
Oh, I
Academy.
love that movie.
Yeah, because they made everybody cops, which was meant civilian on patrol. And
Oh,
so they
that's
hired
just-
all those lackeys to and called them cops.
That's just Police Academy 4, though. The rest of them, oh, God, those movies were
I think that's what
good.
did it. I think that's when I can remember being like, oh, I didn't know that's bad. I'm switching to that.
Yeah.
I remember being like, I'll call them cops now.
I mean, we just always
You ain't nothing
called
but
them
a
that.
civilian, man.
We just always call them cops. We just always...
Well, yeah, cops
We
and
always
robbers
call
is
them
a
cops,
popular
too.
game.
Yeah, it's a slur. So
slur.
use it as often as
Can
you
we
can.
make it
Now
into a
it's a
slur? Like, can we do more to make it into a slur? Like, we have to say it with like a hard P.
You do. It's because
Cop.
most people are not being like disrespectful when they say it. Well, actually, you are. When you say cops, it is never in a positive light. When you say, "Oh no, the cops."
No, that's not true.
Who's
That's not true. People refer to them as cops all the time.
in a
Like
positive
in a
way?
totally normal manner.
Because I was
Like in a normal way.
I always feel like
Like,
when
not
people,
positive, not
the
negative.
only time you say the cops is like there's a cop around a corner bothering people. They have a cop in the grocery store now, or like bad
Maybe,
things.
I don't know.
Oh man, we were on vacation. There was a goddamn fireworks display. So one of those rich assholes that rented out one of those huge mansions on the beach had like the best fireworks. And so then we all go out to the patio and we're watching these fireworks, and all of a sudden we see this cop slow rolling up with the lights off, like engine a neutral or something. And so the guy I was with ended up saying "hooty hoo" to let him know. But I don't. I mean, that's the worst.
They're there
I
to.
kind of feel bad calling them pigs because pigs are such like gentle, intelligent creatures.
Yeah, pigs are smart.
And cops aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know, but like we've gotten so used to calling, like I call them pigs all the time. I don't even say police officers. I call them pigs, like in front of other people, in front of children, whatever, to teach the kids that they're pigs.
Yeah,
But I
pig
just
is a
really
bad.
feel bad about.
Pig's pretty low, man. It's unfortunate to be a pig, and like once you get to know them individually, they're all great, but as a whole, they just seem pretty disgusting.
Yeah, they're just gross. That's the thing.
No, they're not though.
I
Yeah,
don't
the
know,
wallowing
man.
in filth.
Yeah.
The overeating.
No, those are all stereotypes.
These socialists with their.
Like I feel like we should be calling them like mosquitoes or something that everyone hates. You know?
I mean,
Okay.
I one time
Okay.
told my daughter that I wanted to kill all the mosquitoes on the planet, and she said you can't do that because they're part of the food chain. And I'm like, well, let's just see what happens.
She's right.
Yeah.
All
You know.
She's right. She's right. The
So
world would like die within like months if all the mosquitoes died.
I'm like I just think when something bugs me, it's like why don't we just kill like the flies? I'm always like why don't we just like invent something that kills all the flies?
Well, I like
You
killing
know?
them individually though.
Okay.
Like I like smashing one and being like, "Everybody see that? First try, first try."
I had a big fat dumb
But that's
fly.
is when you can like snatch him out of the air.
Oh, I know,
You
just-
feel like a freaking hero when you do that.
There was a moth that was bugging us, and I rolled up real slowly on it, and I grabbed it by the wings and was just holding it in my hand, and my wife and kid were
Fantastic.
their jaws dropped, and I just threw it outside and it flew away.
Ugh.
And I went back to like making dinner.
You didn't even kill it. Even better.
Yeah.
I don't kill things. I'm very against like killing.
I
like,
don't either. The only thing I kill inside the house are ants because like there's so many of them.
I
Everything else gets caught and released.
Yeah, because I'm big on like this is their like as much as I badmouth animals, it's like this is their
It's
place.
their
Like
world.
where are they supposed to go?
Yeah.
You know why? What are we just
Yeah.
like deciding that like oh this is mine now, so a bird can't be in this part of the earth? It's
Oh
like,
God! Have you had a bird in your house? They do not like it. They do not want to be in there. I've had to catch a couple birds in a t-shirt.
I've only had one experience like that, and it was my brother lived in an apartment that had bats that would come down his chimney, and that was scary. Like I will admit, like we did not like dealing with bats, like catching them in a thing and then taking them out. Bats are the worst, man. We kill all the bats.
I
probably.
love that.
Ew.
I had
No, you can't kill all the bats. Then the mosquitoes will take over.
yeah, bats are great. They mostly just
Bats
eat
are
fruit, dude.
fantastic.
They just mostly chill out on bananas and shit.
They eat fruit and mosquitoes.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
So here,
They keep the world clean.
what we have at my house that's actually pretty cool, and I don't know how exactly to find it. It was a gift, but it's like a little trap door insect catcher thing. So there is this plastic box, and you trap the bug inside the box, and then there's a little slider with this piece of plastic that goes underneath it. And there's a magnifying glass on top, so you can like look at it and everything. But it doesn't hurt it in any way. But then you can like catch it, look at the beetle or whatever, and then throw it outside. It's awesome. My kid loves
Is it like from a kid's like science kit or something?
It is. it's a kid's toy. But
Yeah.
I recommend it for
Yeah.
all the compassionate adults that thinking about the lives of bugs.
Yeah, I just don't like killing like a daddy long legs because like it accidentally showed up in my house. You know, like
Well, they just.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I say like if everybody stops freaking out about it, it's just gonna like crawl up the wall and disappear, and we'll never know.
I say that all the time to my family.
Yeah.
It's like stop
yeah.
caring.
We don't
Like,
kill. We don't kill spiders.
Yeah, you don't have to like
No,
let them
no, no.
crawl all over your eyeballs and shit.
No. My kid, like, there's this musician that apparently has taken the entire world by storm named Billie Eilish. and she did a video where she put a spider in her mouth and let it crawl out onto her face and stuff. And I personally thought it was neat, and so does my daughter. And I'm like, maybe these kids are more woke about bugs than we were back in the day, where we would have just chewed it and ate it as a dare and laughed about it, you know? Billie
Oh man,
Eilish.
every time you talk about people that like Gwen follows, like I don't know any of them, and I'm not that old, but it makes me feel so old.
Aren't
Like
you?
I don't know any of these YouTube stars. I don't know anything.
Why do I feel like you know Shane Dawson?
I don't know who
It's
Shane
not
Dawson
you.
is.
It's one of the other admins is into Shane Dawson, and I'm
It
always
is
like,
not me.
wow, man. Shane Dawson is a comedian, and my daughter watches his stuff constantly, and like, yeah, I mean, they just live in a different world than we do. It would have been that way.
It is.
It would have been that way though. Anyway, it's like the internet doesn't like. It's not the internet. They would have been watching
It's
TV
not. Yeah,
shows.
it's not just the internet. Like
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's on TV. Like their age of like TV shows. Like I don't know any of them. I don't know any of the new musicians. Like I don't know anything that's like pop culture now.
Yeah, honestly,
And
once
I
you're
feel like it's. Sorry, go ahead.
once you're not a teen anymore, there's no reason to know that stuff.
Yeah.
Is my like now that I
Yes,
know
I
what the
know.
stuff is, I'm like I see it and I'm like, not interested.
And the pressure is completely off now, where everybody is like really trying to be into as much stuff as possible. You know, they listen to like The Knife and Dolly Parton. Like people are trying to run the gamut of everything.
And Billie Eilish.
And
Yeah.
Billie Eilish.
Yeah, Billie Eilish.
I
is
guess,
the girl.
yeah, like that's older references, but I'm just saying for them, it's like they're not as tied down to one particular like scene.
Well,
the way
I-
that I feel like
That's
the world
true.
was before.
I do feel like there
Yeah.
are certain like popular things
Oh,
that
yeah.
all the kids have to be into,
Absolutely.
like Maroon 5
And that dance where they fucking kick and do their arm at the same time.
yeah. Oh, they love to whip and nay nay too. They're,
Still?
I mean, yeah.
Dude, the
They
kid-
love to hit the
Isn't
quad.
that old by now?
No.
That's just like 2 or 3 years old. Every single kid at vacation. If,
Isn't it
if
the
any music
isn't
came,
the new thing the Kiki dance?
That
the,
too.
Like, the
I didn't
Kiki, don't you love me? That whatever that is.
That is popular, right?
I didn't.
Hard, doesn't it?
Yeah, to do it right.
Yeah.
Unless you're Will Smith,
You
and
have
you
to,
get on
like,
top of
ghostwrite
a
it.
building.
Yeah, Gwen wanted to do the dance that keep.
We need a teen correspondent. We need like a teen, like an actual like 16-year-old on like the mod group.
18.
So shout out if there are any 16-year-olds out there listening to Street Fight.
This
Hit us
show-
up.
I would like
make
to
you
know.
admin.
Yeah, I would like to know if there's any 16-year-olds listening to Street Fight.
I'm sure there's like one.
I hope there are.
Okay.
You know?
Couple.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel so
I
sorry
hope you
for
guys
him.
are like secretly radicalizing a whole generation.
I mean, I know we met two young dudes at, they're going to hear this now, at the live show that we recently did.
Yeah.
They showed up on LSD and they were young as hell. I was like, oh, what are you doing listening to this
Fresh
show?
face. We
Yeah.
can't drink, sir.
Like, what are you doing? I can't believe you listen to this. Why would you want to listen to this? Just looking at, because I think this show is weird for a teen, you know, would be weird for a teen.
Yeah, it's pretty
to
grown. I
listen
mean, like
to.
I said, yeah, this is like even worn down into a nub already. I just worry for what that kid's life is like if they're 17 and they're already just groaning about the fucking world like this. I mean,
true.
you gotta have a little bit of promise before you get smacked down and be like, oh, really? It is like it's gonna be like this for a long time.
I like to listen to two world weary dads for 4 hours a week.
I don't know. I feel like it would be refreshing. Like I was like always in like a straight A student, like all AP classes, all this stuff. Lots of like not pressure from my parents or anything, just pressure from society to go to college and succeed and all this shit. I think if I was like 16 or 17, and I heard someone like you guys like talking about how like realistically how shitty the world is, I'd be like, oh, okay, all right. So it's okay if I don't succeed because most other people don't succeed either.
I actually always think that like listening to this would like the problem with listening to Street Fight is like if I was 16 and I heard it, I would totally let off the gas at that point. Like, well, there's no reason to do anything. You know? Like these two guys
No,
are 40.
I think I would have just felt better about not being a huge success. I think I would have just felt like I wouldn't have felt like the kind of guilt that I felt over the last few years
Yeah.
about
yeah.
not living up to my potential.
Yeah, and I think it can be liberating as well because it's like you can also do your weird little thing and be minor league successful and have a much better existence than giving in and saying capitalism ruins everything, therefore I can't do anything fun, you know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would love for teens to hear this and decide they were going to do the fun stuff and not give a shit what adults think about them, because that would be, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at, is like, that's the reason for the show in a weird way, is to tell people that we're all in the same boat, you know? Like, we're all in the same boat, it sucks, and, you know, the way that you feel is normal. You know, it's not
Exactly. Yeah.
the things, the anxiety you feel about the world is the same anxiety that everybody else feels, because we're all, but like I'm sure that in your mind you're like, well, I'm not going to college and things aren't going really great, but everybody else I know has it all together and everything's going well. And it's like, nope, that's not true. Actually, nobody knows what they're doing. No adults, none. I'm 40 and I don't know anything about this world, you know, and I never will. And now that I'm doing this, I feel like I never will know. Like, people call this show for advice from us, and we're just two dudes that have just lived through a bunch of stuff. Like, we didn't do anything to like, we've never done anything to give people the idea that we're able to solve problems or anything like that, you know, other than we've been around longer.
What you guys have done is you're very truthful and honest and like down to earth, and like if someone's fucking up, you'll tell them that they're fucking up, and if someone like needs to, you know, be kind of righted on their path, like you guys will lead them down maybe a better path and give them some options. Like, a lot of people go through life with no one being honest with them about anything. And like, listening to you guys, it's been like, I don't know, a year or a year and a half that I've been listening to you guys. You guys are like very, very truthful and almost brutally honest sometimes about stuff. And people need that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the service. When I talk about like this show, I don't think it's activism, you know, like I would never think a podcast is activism, especially a podcast that's trying to make money and stuff and is entertaining and shit. But I do think that, like, if there's anything I can do in this world, like, my role seems to be now to explain to people that they're not alone, and that, like, the person next to them at work is just as worried about their position in the world as they are. Because if somebody had told that to me when I was a teenager, or when I was, 26 and I was having panic attacks, nobody ever told that stuff to me. The first person in my life that ever was honest about getting a payday advance was Brett. Nobody else ever was honest to me about, like, I've gotten payday advances and I've gotten them over and over again. Nobody ever said that. But Brett, somehow, like, him and I were just in a conversation and we talked about, oh yeah, I got payday advances for like 5 or 6 years, and he wasn't embarrassed about it. But I mean, obviously we were both embarrassed about it because there is a shame tied to that. But like, the fact that he was willing to say it to me made me feel comfortable talking to him. And the fact that that happened with him means that us saying stuff like that and people listening to it, hopefully that's happening with them. They're like, oh my God, I'm not the only person that has gone through these things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I grew up as a kid going to those places, and I saw other kids when I was there too, so I know it's not like a totally isolated experience.
Yeah, but it feels like one when you're doing it. It does when you have to get off work on Friday and go to the payday advance place and pay them so that you can come back tomorrow and write another check to get your money.
You can't go directly to the bar after work when everybody's like, we're going straight to Brewster's, and you're like, I'll see you in like an hour. I gotta stop and do something.
I gotta run some errands and then get ripped off by a loan shark real quick before you head out to the bar. Pay $6 to pay your stupid electric bill, or whatever. Pay 10% more on your electric bill because you're broke and nobody will give you a bank account.
Yeah, go cash your check for $4 in grocery coupons and then run over to the payday place and pay it off.
Or like, one of the most isolating experiences in the world that people don't ever think about is when you go out. The weirdest thing that we do is we go out to like the bar, right? Like, we go out to the bar with our friends and we're hanging out and we're all anxious about our money and we're all checking our bank accounts and stuff like that, but nobody wants to show that. So they're like, I'll buy a round, and then they're thinking like, I'll have frozen pizzas like 2 days this week.
I do have a bag of potatoes that I need to get into.
Yeah, and everybody does it. This isn't just like a thing that like only broke people do. It's like everybody around you is concerned about their bank account, but that you can't show that in person because there's a stigma to it, which is weird because everybody has it, you know? And that is capitalism telling you that like being poor is wrong, I guess would be, you know,
being poor is wrong or ever having been. So I'm on like a mission to break down stigmas, and one of the things that I always use as like an example from my own life is, so me and my family were immigrants. We came here when I was a year old, and my parents got welfare like for a very short amount of time. But we were on food stamps, we were getting welfare, we were on Medi-Cal, all that stuff. And now, I mean, my parents are both very successful. They have multiple homes, they have nice cars, all this shit. But like we always talk about like we were on welfare, we had food